Hey guys, I know this is short notice, and I'm in a hotel room. I just got in. I had to travel today, but I'm working on some stories as always. But I figured it would make sense to drop in and really comment on what we all saw today. It was kind of crazy, in my opinion. Hey guys, Clementine, you're here. Billy Bob Belly Button Boo. Um, yeah, that hearing on the Hill, I don't know if you were able to catch it, but it was outrageous. There were so many elements of it that just were insane. Kash Patel, for example, saying there's no credible evidence that would make them want to pursue another trial. Massey started to name people. He named Jess Staley, who we know of, the banker that Epstein was close to. But the fact that there's a magician, that there's a bank, the number of other people that are involved. And, I'm just going to go through some of the clips and give you my take. Okay? How's that? All right. And by the way, ask me questions. Just go for it. And thanks to Eric, by the way, for coming through with the clips, making it easier for me. All right. This one is the one that has angered me the most, and it happened yesterday.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay. Now,
Okay. First of all, that is not true, because we know that Virginia Roberts Giuffre's deposition is in the Epstein files. Okay. And she names a number of men. So if he is calling her deposition no credible evidence, then that is a choice deciding not to investigate a victim's case. A victim who, by the way, got the only civil settlement with the royals, with the monarchy in history. Okay. And I believe it was for $16 million, but no credible evidence. Now, if you wanted to build a case and get credible evidence, then you would subpoena documents, bank transfers, phone numbers, get witnesses, look at the flight logs. I don't know. You're the government. You can subpoena people. You can build a case. You can look through the footage. No credible evidence. Okay. Now, at another point in this absurdity, Kash Patel admitted that he never actually saw the Epstein files. He's never actually looked through them. He's passed them on to other people, underlings. Even though, all right, let me just play some more stuff. Actually, I need to get that clip. Here's a guy, by the way, who ran as a
And let us know who the pedophiles are.
Let me do this again.
Put on your big boy pants.
And let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean,
That's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
Boy pants. and let us know who
Okay.
the pedophiles are.
I'm not going to make you listen to that again. He's been in the job for 200 days. Put on his big boy pants, right? Let us know where the pedophiles are. That's his job, right? But there's more, guys. This is just like kind of crazy, over the top.
A child sex, all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
You said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Okay. All right. All you care about is a child sexual predator. Makes sense. And, you know, it is fair to say that President Trump did prosecute Jeffrey Epstein. He did. Before that, he was prosecuted during the Bush administration, but the case went all the way up to the Attorney General, and he ended up getting a slap on the wrist back in 2008. Nothing happened. He spent 13 months in a county jail with an ankle bracelet, and he was allowed to actually continue sexually assaulting women during that time. But, and yeah, granted, the Biden administration, after Ghislaine Maxwell after the trial, the Biden administration should have continued the case. And I've thought about this a lot, and I'm like, why didn't they? And I will tell you that a lot of the people around Jeffrey Epstein were Democrats. They really were. He was a Democrat. Trump was a Democrat too, by the way, at the time. But it was insidious. And I wondered if Biden was maybe thinking that it was too messy, that it would call out his old friends. But I don't know that for a fact, but it is that messy. And it's made me wonder why they didn't pursue this even further. But I do know, because I've checked in with my sources, I've continued to report this story, and I reported during the Biden administration. By the way, I have a piece in Politico magazine called "The Women Who Enabled Jeffrey Epstein." For all of those who want to know more about my work, I also did 2 podcasts: Broken, Jeffrey Epstein, and Power, the Maxwells. And you know, I've talked to the agent, I've talked to spokespeople there and people at high levels who said that they were still working on the case, that they were still developing leads. Now it's case closed. Okay, let me get more for you. Okay. Here is one. I'm going to, one more here. Okay.
You don't know the number of times Trump's name. You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it
We
at
have
least be 1,000
released
times?
every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
You can
so-
characterize the numbers however you want it.
Claiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
It's
would
not.
it be?
It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number? You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears.
Okay. That's another one. I think it's pretty clear. Has he even read the files? I don't know. Let's watch another one.
To tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name? Remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in
It's
the
a simple
attorney's
question.
file.
Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is
painstakingly
simple.
Who
Did you
can
tell
be-
the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes
If you're
or
gonna mock
no,
me?
Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No? A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F?
it
Don't
sounds
wanna
like
do
you
it?
don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your
Director,
constituency
did
by
you tell the
focusing on
Attorney
reducing
General
violent
that Donald
crime in
Trump
this
did-
country and the number of pedophiles that are
Director,
legally
reclaim my
harbored
time,
in
Director.
sanctuary cities in
Director,
California?
reclaim
I'll
my
work
time.
with you on that.
Regular
You
order,
gotta
Mr.
work with us
Chairman.
on that.
Director, reclaim
I'm the
my
lawless
time.
gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the FCC?
Another one. Let me see. There's so many. Okay, really the one that, this is the one that really,
Chairman, Director Patel, I watched some of your Senate hearing yesterday when Senator Kennedy asked you, you've seen most of the files, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these women to besides himself? You replied, according to the transcript, there is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else. You also said somewhere in the hearing and here today that the problem is that the case files are constrained by limited search warrants from 2006 to 2007, and that the non-prosecution agreement hamstrung future investigations. Those constraints only apply to the Southern District of Florida. They do not apply to Southern District of New York, the location of the 2019 sex trafficking indictment, which produced many things, including a series of FD 302 documents. According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors such as Virginia Roberts.
okay, I'm going to stop right there for 1 second because I want to go over the Jess Staley thing. Okay, Jess Staley was a banker at JP Morgan, and a number of emails were released, by the way, that show him and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. In one of those emails, he is in Jeffrey Epstein's pool, okay? His hot tub, drinking white wine at the Zorro Ranch that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to use as a literal breeding ground to create children, okay? And he's asking for Snow White or Beauty and the Beast, okay? So he's requesting women from Jeffrey Epstein. He eventually had to step down from Barclays Bank, where he was, I think it was Chase Bank. Let me get that right before Barclays, for his investments in Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Les Wexner, who's also very close to Jeffrey Epstein and created the limited company, which includes Victoria's Secrets, he was forced to step down from his board, from the company. But the government doesn't think it's a good idea to investigate. The Department of Justice doesn't think it's a good idea to look into why that publicly held company thought that that person should step down. Okay, let's keep going.
Also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people, and have you seen these 302 documents?
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information. And we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been no new materials brought to me launching a new indictment.
So is it?
There have been no new materials brought to me. Well, then go look for them. Also, like I said, the victims and their depositions, their sworn testimonies name other men.
Is the loophole here, or is it your assertion that these victims aren't credible, that the 302s maybe didn't produce credible statements that rise to a probable cause?
It's not my assertion, sir. It's the assertion of two different United States attorney's offices from 3 separate administrations who investigated those same materials in lifetime.
Are the 302 documents in the FBI's possession?
They reviewed all that. Yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents that where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
So how can you sit here and in front of the Senate and say there are no names?
I said
I named one today.
I said we are not in the practice at the Department of Justice FBI of releasing victims' names. That is not what we do. We are also not in the habit of releasing incredible information. That's not what we do. But multiple authorities have looked at the entirety of what we have.
Okay, I got to move on here. Were you?
Okay, incredible information that has caused people to lose their royal titles, step down from banks, step down from the boards. But to FBI Director Kash Patel, it is not credible enough to launch an investigation to go out there and get new information to find out what exactly was going on. Okay, I'm going to keep going, guys.
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
So how can you
Investigated those same materials in lifetime.
Are the 302 documents in the FBI's possession?
They reviewed all that. Yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents that where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
So
whoa, why would he not want to see the names of the men that have been the men that, by the way, he's spoken about? Tell us who the pedophiles are. Tell us who the pedophiles are. That is what Kash Patel used to say on podcasts all the time. Tell us who the pedophiles are. You can see their names. The FBI vault, if you go to it, it is just one big smear of redactions over the Epstein files, right? But Kash Patel can read. He can see when Virginia Giuffre is referencing a man's name. He can see what's underneath the redactions, but he doesn't apparently want to because he doesn't believe they're real or accurate or true, even though she's won defamation cases against Ghislaine Maxwell. The Epstein estate had to pay her. It's incredible. He doesn't even want to know. He doesn't even want to see it. He doesn't want to put his big boy pants on, in his own words. So here we are.
how can you sit here and in front of the Senate and say there are no names?
I said
I named one today.
I said we are not in the practice at the Department of Justice FBI of releasing victims' names. That is not what we do. We are also not in the habit of releasing incredible information. That's not what we do. But multiple authorities have looked at the entirety of what we have.
Okay, I got to move on here. Were you present when the AG had the White House event when she released the binders to the social media influencers?
I was, yes.
So if you're willing to meet with social media influencers who stood to benefit from the sensational and sad stories of these victims, will you meet with the victims as well?
The FBI will meet with anyone who has new information.
Will you personally meet with them?
The FBI and the professionals who are handling the cases will.
Were you instructed that it was important to release the documents to the Oversight Committee on the day of my introduction of the discharge petition to release these files?
I don't know what day that was, so no.
Well, they were released that day, and there were victims' names who weren't redacted because they were in such a rush, and the victims are not happy about that.
Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for unanimous consent.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to submit two sets of documents. The first is a series of emails from the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. They are making FOIA requests to get their own FBI files and not having any success. So I want to bring attention to that by submitting that to the record.
Okay.
From Kentucky is recognized for 5 minutes.
All right. I just want to say that. So the victims are putting in FOIA requests to get their own documents released. So a big part of the reason why people say their names, say the names of the men you were trafficked to. Well, they are terrified of defamation suits against them because sadly in this world, as we know, the most powerful people can shut you up by dragging you into court for the rest of your life and squashing you. The only way for these victims to have the names of the men that they were trafficked to publicly revealed without having to deal with that sort of threat is is by having the files released. They also want to know why Epstein was protected, why their crimes were ignored for so long. It's not just that, it's for justice sake too. So I think it's interesting to see that they are FOIAing, they are putting in requests to get their own documents. You know, this isn't going away. Some of the survivors I spoke to, and they're playing the games of Washington now. They're doing opposition research on the members who refused to vote to release the files of Jeffrey Epstein to find out why they might not want them out there. What are their associations with Jeffrey Epstein? Do they have some tenuous association? And he was just so insidious. He was so insidious. And so I think this isn't going away, and it will come out. And I just think this is how it's going to go. Kash Patel, you know, is he going to end up back on the House floor anytime soon? I actually should know the schedule, but there was one more actually that I really liked, and then we're going to wrap up, but there's one more video. This is really smart.
The president has, you've seen the picture of the woman's body with the writing and the president's signature. The president says that's not his. Okay? President says it's not his. The Republican colleagues say it's not his. The administration say it's not his. Will you be opening up an investigation into the Epstein estate for putting out a fake document with the president's signature linking him to the world's largest pedophile ring? Will you be opening that investigation into that?
On what basis?
On what basis? They literally put out a fake document, according to the president, with a fake signature. It's a forgery of the president of the United States signature. That's the basis.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay, I look forward to that investigation. Am I over? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your
If it's a fake, then go after the estate, right? What do you think? What do you think? Well, it was in deposition files, so. Guys, any last thoughts? I'm exhausted by all of this. That's our FBI director. Yeah. All right. Appreciate you all jumping in. Thank you, Jank. Jank was just on the show, actually, and he has been such an inspiring voice, especially right now after the death of Charlie Kirk, just wanting to and leaning into trying to build bridges. I saw that he's going on Tucker Carlson's show, and I know some of you might be like, why would you do that? But it is so important that people come together and they talk and they have conversations and they debate and they listen to each other. And he's been one of those people, and he's been very supportive. And he came on the show with Shamika Michelle, who is a very conservative woman. And the two of them talked, and I feel like the conversation was healthy and normal. And hopefully some people saw eye to eye. And if they didn't, that's okay, because that is the beauty of free speech, and we should be able to do it without harm. And I know we're jumping all over the place, but it's something that, you know, I'd like to end with. Like, I should have the free speech, and you should have the free speech to be on this platform and for me to respond to Kash Patel and what he has said. Now, whether he perjured himself, that's up to the courts or Congress to decide. Thank you guys for everything. And, you know, don't let the anger that you feel, though, don't hold on to it for too long. Just keep fighting and stay hopeful. All right. Bye.